$1. That's what my mother left me in her will. My golden child brother Marcus got the house, worth $380,000. The savings, $470,000. Her jewelry collection, $200,000. Even her car. I got a single dollar bill and a note that read, "This is all you deserve." But when I pulled out my phone in that lawyer's office and opened a folder labeled Mom's Promises, my brother went pale. My aunt gasped so loud I swear the neighbors heard. And the lawyer said 4 words that changed everything. "This is legally binding. My name is Jennifer and this is how I made them pay every single penny they owed me." But to understand how we got here, I need to take you back to the moment I realized I was the spare child. I was 8 years old when I learned my place in the family hierarchy. Marcus turned 10 that year. Mom threw him a backyard carnival. Petting zoo, professional magician, custom superhero cake, 60 screaming kids. She'd spent weeks planning it. Thousands of dollars executing it. My birthday? 2 months earlier. Denny's. Just the 3 of us. A card with $20 and, "Pick something nice from Target." When I asked why Marcus got a party and I didn't, Mom looked at me like I'd asked why the sky was blue. "Marcus is special, Jennifer. He's going places. You're more steady. Reliable. Not everyone needs to be a star." I was 8 years old. That wasn't a one-time thing. That was the pattern. When Marcus got B's, Mom celebrated his effort. When I got straight A's, silence, it was expected. When Marcus made JV basketball as a sophomore, she bought him $300 shoes and posted about it for weeks. When I made varsity soccer as a freshman, she forgot to come to my first game. She was at his practice. College. Mom hired Marcus a private consultant, flew with him to visit schools across the country. His school cost $60,000 a year. They paid every cent, bought him a car, sent monthly spending money. For me, she handed me a laptop. "The internet has everything you need." I went to state school on scholarships and worked 3 jobs to cover the rest. I never complained. I told myself it built character. That I'd be stronger for it. That maybe if I just proved myself enough, she'd finally see me. Then Dad got sick and everything I thought I understood about my family shattered. Dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer when I was 25. 9 months from diagnosis to death. Brutal, devastating, fast. I moved home. Took leave from my job. Became his primary caregiver. I managed his medications, drove him to appointments, sat with him through the worst nights. Helped him with everything he couldn't do alone. Marcus? He visited twice. Both times for under an hour. Both times spent mostly on his phone. Mom was there physically, but grief had paralyzed her. So it fell to me, the invisible daughter, the reliable one. Dad knew. In his final weeks, when he was lucid, he'd squeeze my hand and whisper, "You're the strong one, Jenny. Don't let them forget what you're worth." I thought he was just being sentimental. He died on a Tuesday morning with my hand in his. The funeral was the following Saturday. Marcus gave this beautiful, tearful eulogy about what an amazing father he'd had, full of memories and inside jokes. Everyone cried. Mom glowed with pride. Here's the thing, 90% of those stories? I'd told them to Marcus the night before because he didn't really remember much about Dad. 2 weeks later came the will reading. Dad had split everything 3 ways. Mom, Marcus, and me. Equal thirds. His life insurance, retirement accounts, his half of the house. Or that's what was supposed to happen. Mom stood up before the lawyer finished. "I spoke with your father before he passed. We agreed Marcus should get an extra portion since he has more expenses with his MBA program. Jennifer is more self-sufficient." I stared at her. Dad agreed to that? Yes. He understood Marcus needs more support. The lawyer looked uncomfortable. "Mrs. Patterson, I have no record of Mr. Patterson changing his will. These documents clearly state. I'm his wife. I know what he wanted. I should have fought it. But I was grieving, exhausted, and so used to being second that part of me believed her. I signed the papers. Marcus got 50%. I got 25. Marcus bought a condo. I paid off my student loans. That was 7 years ago. And it should have been the end of the story. But 3 years ago, Mom called saying she needed help, and like an idiot I came running. Just until I get back on my feet, Mom said. She was 68, struggling with daily tasks. Nothing major, just help with groceries, yard work, managing finances. I was living 2 hours away, engaged to a wonderful man named David, had a solid career as a project manager. But I started driving down every weekend. Then weekends became twice a week. Then I was practically living there. David tried to be patient. Jennifer, she has another son. Why is this all on you? Marcus is busy with his career. So are you. She treats you like you're worthless and you just take it. When is enough going to be enough? I didn't have an answer. Mom never asked Marcus for help. When I suggested it, she looked horrified. Marcus has important work. I can't burden him. Besides, you're so much better at this. Translation, you're more useful. He's more valuable. But I kept showing up. Kept helping. Because good daughters do that, right? Because maybe this time she'd finally see my worth. I started keeping records about a year in. Not for revenge, I just needed proof I wasn't crazy. That this was real. I created a spreadsheet. Every trip. Every hour. Every dollar I spent on her groceries, medications, home repairs. Things she needed but couldn't afford, despite having over $400,000 in assets. The numbers were staggering. In 3 years, 347 trips. That's 694 hours just driving. An estimated 2,100 hours of direct care. $43,000 out of my own pocket. My engagement fell apart. David gave me an ultimatum. Choose me or choose this dysfunction. I chose my mother. Still chasing that approval. Still hoping she'd say, "Thank you, Jennifer. I see you." He never did. Marcus visited maybe once every 3 months. Each time, Mom lit up like Christmas morning, cooked his favorite meals, asked about his life, bragged about his accomplishments. He'd stay 3 hours. She'd talk about it for 3 weeks. I could spend 3 days caring for her and she wouldn't mention it to anyone. Then 6 months ago everything exploded. Mom fell. Broke her hip. Needed surgery, rehab, in-home care. I took unpaid leave from work. I'd exhausted my FMLA. Moved into her house. I was there 24/7 for 2 solid months. Marcus sent flowers to the hospital. Those 2 months I had no life. No friends. No time for myself. I was nurse, cook, housekeeper, financial manager, and emotional punching bag. Mom complained constantly. The food was wrong. I wasn't doing exercises correctly. I was too rough, too slow, too something. Nothing I did was good enough. One night I broke down crying in the kitchen, exhausted, depressed, desperately lonely. Mom shuffled in with her walker. Not concerned. Annoyed. "What's wrong with you?" "I'm just tired, Mom. This is really hard." "Hard? Jennifer, I'm the one with the broken hip. Just helping. Don't be dramatic. I gave up my entire life to be here. Please. You didn't have much going on anyway. It's not like you're Marcus with his important career." Something broke in me that night. I found a professional caregiver for Mom, paid for 3 months from my own savings. Gave notice I was leaving once she was stable. Mom was furious. "You're abandoning me? After everything I've done for you?" I laughed. Actually laughed. "What have you done for me, Mom? I raised you. I gave you life. You gave Marcus a life. You gave me an obligation." I left the next week. 3 months later Mom called. Her voice was ice. "I've updated my will. I think it's fair you know what to expect." My stomach dropped. "Okay. I'm leaving the bulk of my estate to Marcus. He's been such a devoted son. Always calling, always caring." I actually snorted. "He calls you once a month, Mom. He's busy. And he doesn't guilt me about it like you do. You've always been so demanding, Jennifer. Always wanting attention, wanting recognition. It's exhausting. So what am I getting? A token amount. You'll see when the time comes. I just wanted you to know your behavior has consequences." She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone and realized I was done. Done hoping. Done trying. Done caring. But I wasn't going to make it easy. I called a lawyer. Not to contest the will. It was her money. But to understand my options. Did your mother ever promise to compensate you for the care you provided? He asked. Thought back. She said I was securing my inheritance. That I should think of it as an investment in my future. She said it a lot, actually. Did you keep records? Every single one. Bring them to me. Mom passed away from a heart attack 4 months ago. Marcus called 3 hours after. Mom's gone. Can you handle the funeral arrangements? I'm not good at that stuff. Of course. I planned everything. Paid for half, $7,200, because Marcus was cash poor. He'd pay me back from the inheritance. Right. The funeral was beautiful. Marcus gave another perfect eulogy. Everyone told him how strong he was, what a good son he'd been. I got sympathetic nods. The will reading was 2 weeks later. I knew what was coming. I'd mentally prepared. I'd rehearsed staying calm and dignified. But I wasn't prepared for the cruelty. We sat in Mom's living room, the house I'd maintained for 3 years. Marcus on the couch, looking appropriately somber. Me in the chair by the window. The lawyer cleared his throat and began reading. The house, $380,000. The savings and investments, $470,000. The jewelry, $200,000. Her car. All to Marcus. Then my part. To my daughter Jennifer, I leave the sum of $1 and the following message. This is all you deserve for the pain and burden you've brought into my life. You were always the difficult child, and I hope this teaches you that actions have consequences. The lawyer looked mortified reading it. Marcus had the decency to look uncomfortable. But neither said anything. The lawyer handed me an envelope. Inside, a crisp $1 bill. George Washington stared up at me like this was a joke. The note underneath repeated the message in Mom's handwriting. $1. For 3 years of my life. For $43,000 of my money. For my broken engagement. For my derailed career. For everything I'd sacrificed. $1. Marcus cleared his throat. Look, Jen, I know this seems harsh, but Mom was really upset about you abandoning her. I didn't abandon her. I got her professional care. She felt abandoned. And honestly, you were pretty difficult. Always making her feel guilty. The lawyer started packing his briefcase. If there are no contests to the will. Actually, I said quietly, there is something we need to discuss. I pulled out my phone. 3 years of proof sat in one folder labeled Mom's Promises. Before we close this, you both should see something. Marcus rolled his eyes. Jennifer, if you're going to make a scene. Mom told me I was securing my inheritance by caring for her. That I should think of it as an investment in my future. She said this 17 times over 3 years. I have 12 of those conversations recorded. New York is a one-party consent state. The lawyer's head snapped up. I also have detailed records of every expense I paid on Mom's behalf. Groceries, medications, home repairs, medical equipment, utilities she claimed she couldn't afford. Total, $43,680.92. I swiped through my phone, showed them the spreadsheet. I have documentation of 2,100 hours of direct caregiving. Market rate for in-home care here is $28 per hour. That's $58,800 in services rendered. Marcus was pale now. You can't be serious. I have receipts for the 3 months of professional care I paid for when I left. $18,000. And I have texts where Marcus promised to reimburse me for half the funeral costs. $7,200. I looked directly at the lawyer. That's $127,680.92 that I'm owed from this estate before distribution. The lawyer's eyes were wide. Do you have documentation for all of this? Every receipt. Every bank statement. Every text message. Every email. I even have video recordings from some care sessions. I pulled out a thumb drive and set it on the table. 3 years of proof. Time-stamped. Dated. Organized. Marcus exploded. This is bullshit. You're trying to steal my inheritance. Your inheritance? I laughed without humor. I'm collecting a debt. Mom made promises. I provided services based on those promises. That's called a contract. The lawyer was frantically taking notes. Ms. Patterson, if you can prove your mother promised compensation for these services, this could constitute a valid claim against the estate. I can prove it. I have witnesses too. Mom's neighbors heard her promise I'd be well taken care of. Her doctor heard it. I have 2 of those conversations on video. Marcus stood up shaking. I'm calling my lawyer. This is extortion. It's documentation, Marcus. Something you'd understand if you'd ever actually been there. I was busy with my life. So was I. But I gave mine up. My voice cracked. I was handling Mom's most intimate care needs, Marcus. I was holding her hair back when medications made her sick. I was sleeping on a cot in her room in case she needed help at night. Where were you? Mom never asked me. Because you were precious. The golden child who couldn't be bothered. And she enabled it because God forbid Marcus be inconvenienced. I turned back to the lawyer, voice steady now. I'm filing a claim against the estate for $127,680.92. And I'm requesting distribution be held until this is resolved. The lawyer nodded slowly. That's your right. I'll need to review your documentation, but if it's as thorough as you indicate. It is. Marcus was shaking with rage. After everything Mom did for you. Like what, Marcus? I met his eyes. Tell me one thing Mom did for me that she also did for you. One example of equal treatment. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Tried again. Nothing. That's what I thought. The next 3 months were brutal. Marcus hired an expensive law firm that tried every angle. I'd provided care voluntarily as a family member. I was exploiting Mom's estate. My claims were unfounded and emotionally motivated. But my lawyer was a pit bull. And I had evidence. We filed everything. Every receipt. Every text where Mom promised I'd be taken care of. Every witness statement. The most damaging piece of evidence? A video I'd taken during one of Mom's difficult days. She'd been in pain, frustrated, lashing out at me for bringing the wrong tea. I'd started recording to document her symptoms for her doctor. In the video, after she calmed down, she grabbed my hand and said, "I'm sorry, Jennifer. I know I'm difficult. I'm so grateful for everything you're doing. I promise I'm going to make sure you're compensated fairly for this. You're sacrificing so much and I won't forget it." That video was the nail in the coffin. Marcus's lawyer tried arguing compensated fairly was too vague. My lawyer pointed out that $43,000 in documented expenses plus professional care rates equaled something very specific. We also uncovered something interesting during discovery. Mom had updated her will 3 times in 5 years. Version 1 from 5 years ago. Everything split evenly between Marcus and me. Version 2 from 3 years ago. Right when I started intensive caregiving, I was set to receive 60% for extraordinary care and support. Version 3, the final version, leaving me $1. Created 2 months after I left when she was angry. My lawyer argued the final will was created under emotional distress and didn't reflect Mom's true intentions or our agreement. Marcus's team argued it was her final will and should be respected. The judge reviewed everything. All the documentation. All the videos. All the witness statements. Then he asked Marcus's lawyer one simple question. How many hours of care did Mr. Patterson provide for his mother during her final 3 years? The lawyer fumbled. Well, he visited regularly. How many hours? I don't have exact. Ms. Patterson has documentation of 2,100 hours. Does your client dispute this number? Silence. I'll take that as a no. 6 weeks later, the ruling came. The judge found I had a valid claim for documented expenses and reasonable compensation for care services. Not the full $127,000, but $95,000. Mom's final will would stand, but the estate had to honor the debt to me before distribution. Here's how it broke down. I received $95,000 off the top. The remaining $955,000 went to Marcus according to the will. But the judge added something that made it all worthwhile. It's clear from the evidence that Ms. Jennifer Patterson provided exceptional care for her mother during the most difficult period of her mother's life, while Mr. Marcus Patterson was largely absent. While the will must be honored, the court notes that Ms. Jennifer Patterson's contributions far exceeded any reasonable expectation of familial duty. Her claim is more than justified, it's overdue. That statement became public record. Marcus got his inheritance, got the house, got the jewelry, got everything he wanted. But everyone who matters knows the truth. Marcus called after the ruling. He was furious. "Are you happy now? You humiliated us. That judge basically called me a deadbeat in the public record. He called you absent. Which you were. I had a life, Jennifer. So did I, Marcus. I gave it up. You didn't. That was your choice. That was your choice." I took a deep breath. "You're right. It was. And I chose wrong. I chose to believe that if I sacrificed enough, proved my worth enough, she'd finally see me as valuable as you. But she never did. And neither did you." Silence. "In 3 years of me caring for Mom, how many times did you call to ask how I was doing? Not how Mom was. How I was." More silence. "Zero. The answer is zero. You never offered to help. You thanked me twice, once at the funeral for the cameras. I thought you liked doing it. Nobody likes being a full-time caregiver, Marcus. Nobody likes giving up their entire life. I did it because someone had to. And you weren't going to. So this was all about money? No. This was about being seen. Being valued. Being acknowledged. The money is just proof. Proof I wasn't crazy. That my sacrifice mattered. Even if Mom couldn't see it, the court did." Long pause. "I'm sorry you felt invisible." "I didn't feel invisible, Marcus. I was invisible. To both of you. For my entire life. What do you want from me?" "Nothing. I don't want anything anymore. I just want you to understand that actions have consequences. That's what Mom's note said, right? Well, she was right. Your actions, being absent, letting me carry everything alone, had consequences. And her actions, treating us so differently our whole lives, had consequences too." I hung up. I took that $1 bill and framed it. It hangs in my home office now, right next to the court ruling. It's a reminder that I'm worth more than $1. More than being invisible. More than being the reliable spare child. David reached out after the case made the local news. We met for coffee. Talked for 3 hours. "You're different," he said. "Stronger." "I'm clearer," I corrected. "I know my worth now. We're taking it slow, but we're trying again. Because I'm not the same woman who chose scraps of her mother's attention over the fullness of real love. I'm someone who knows what she deserves. I'm someone who kept the receipts. If you're listening to this and you're the invisible child in your family, let me tell you something. Keep your receipts. Not for revenge. But because you deserve to have your reality validated. When people try to rewrite history, when they tell you your sacrifices didn't happen or don't matter, you deserve to have proof. You deserve to be seen. And if the people who should see you won't, document it. Acknowledge it yourself. Make sure the world knows your truth. Because actions really do have consequences. And you are worth so much more than $1. My name is Jennifer, and you've just heard my story. And if you want more stories like this, stories about justice, revenge, and people finally standing up for themselves, subscribe and hit that notification bell.